Chunking and segmentation is something I spend a lot of my time talking with developers about. A lot of people say, Chels, how do I know how much is too much to add inside of a module? How much is too little to add? And unfortunately, there's not one clear-cut answer. We can't evaluate an online class based on seat time like we can some in the traditional classroom, because we don't know. We can't account for all of the various different ways that students are approaching our class or utilizing their time. So we need to approach course design in a way that is easily digestible. And so for chunking and segmentation, what we're hoping to conquer here is to break your course down into micro learning units. So if you think about a couple of lessons before, we talked about module structure and how important it was to define your module, define what it meant by having a module, define what it meant by having a week of instruction. And now we need to focus in on those specific elements within the module. So how can we create micro learning segments inside of our module? Well, we can do this for a couple of different ways. The literature tells us that, attention span varies, especially when we're talking about engaging with electronic content. So we never want our lecture videos or our content videos to be longer than about 15 minutes. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have more than one 15-minute video, and I'm not saying that your content can't ever last longer than 15 minutes. Of course, there's special cases that we can talk about that would prove actually the reverse. But what we want to make sure of is that we've given the students enough information about the content so that they can make a good decision about what works best for them. We can do that in a couple of different ways. We can respect that whole 15-minute time limit for videos. We could give the student a time limit. So how long does this video last? How long do we think, or how long do we estimate that it would take the student to complete this module? If we deposit some of these time estimates throughout our class, that really reinforces that chunking and segmentation, where the student is able to decide, okay, I may not have 3 hours to allocate to this particular lesson, but I do have a 30-minute lunch break. And so I can read X, Y, and Z, or I can watch a lecture video in this amount of time. Maybe they're working out and they're trying to get through some of the course material. They're able to make decisions that best fit their lifestyle based on the information that you've given them. And the information that you've given them is thoughtfully organized. So again, going back and reiterating the importance of organization, the importance of clarity, consistency, but through articulating that consistency inside of a chunking mechanism. So we've divided our course evenly. The student knows that each week it's going to feel a little, pretty much the same heaviness. And if we do have a heavier week coming up, that we let the student know beforehand. We never want to surprise our students with a super heavy week. That's why it's so important to break down larger assignments. For example, you may be assigning a larger research project as part of your class. Well, that's all well and good. We want you to do that. We want the student to be integrated in the literature. We want them to have that scholarly experience. But what we could do is approach that by chunking out that assignment, making, the outline, the annotated bibliography, maybe the first section, maybe the literature review. We can chunk out those pieces of the assignment so that the student is turning them in sequentially as part of a whole, instead of pushing out that larger assignment till the end of the semester where they have this monumental task to complete in the same time that it took to maybe read through a couple of chapters. We want our course to feel very balanced, and that balance differs for every class. That balance differs between graduate and undergraduate level classes. We can assume that our graduate students can handle a little bit heavier of a load. We can assume that graduate students can handle more complex readings. Maybe we've got some academic journal articles, things like that. We know that based on our student population, based on who typically registers for our course, we can break down or segment our class into balanced, approachable content that our students can maneuver, and they have the information necessary so that they can make the best decisions for what fits best with their lifestyle.